Hello. There is a remarkable chess term, Zugzwang. This word comes from German and it means compulsion to move, and in German it is pronounced Zugzwang. It is a position in which any move, any action or inaction of the player leads to deterioration or worsening of his position. That is, you can't do this and you can't avoid doing this either.
Of course, I lost. He knew my game plan from the start.
Yes, put you in Zugzwang after Zugzwang, till he had you right where he wanted you.
Such a situation is usually disarming and baffling, because it's not clear what to do.
So what? Are you going to introduce to him and at least try to get his number?
I want to, but he's with all his friends, and that's kind of embarrassing.
You know you won't see him again until summer's over.
Shit, I hate being in Zugzwang.
Well, for example, there is a video in which it is clearly and 100% convincingly proved that a certain well-known person is a thief. The video is viewed by over 1 million people, so it's impossible to just ignore it. The thief's comrades begin to help their accomplice and only make things worse, and the task, of course, was not to put the thief in prison, but to make the comrades quarrel among themselves who is more devoted to their boss.
Кто похвалит меня лучше всех, тот получит сладкую конфету.
It would be as if a guy who cheated on his wife is shielded by his friends, who themselves held the candle and themselves concocted all this infidelity. And it is them who will end up being the ones to blame. Little girls and boys adore dolls and toy soldiers. Adult but narrow-minded fuddy-duddies who have power and money and posh palaces and castles, they are not alien to playing with live dolls and boys with rubber truncheons and guns. As we age, we gain experience, but the need to simulate things doesn't disappear. When a person has Zugzwang, any move can only lead to something bad. Zugzwang in chess teaches us that sometimes there's simply no better way out and you don't need to look for a non-existent move. And it seems useful to let things take their course, wait, and then take the situation into your own hands. Check is not the end. Check is the motivation to put more efforts. But did you know that the Caucasian mineral waters, winemaker's pastoral noble pleasures, and the healing air of the relict forests are the best thing you can wish for a retired chap? On the other hand, belated attempts to regain the former strength and lost opportunities, to restore the former position, remind 2 Russian proverbs. Before you die, you cannot breathe enough in reserve, and sometimes it is too late to drink mineral water. In personal life, Zugzwang most often leads to loneliness, and in politics, it is a way to lustration, despite the zeroing out.
Gonna keep on walking forward.